Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Val and this is my Perler Beading for Beginners video. This video is just my opinions. I am not sponsored by any of the brands I will overview. Over the last few years, I've learned a ton about beading, perfected a few techniques, and made some epic mistakes. In this video, I'm going to take you through an entire project from beading, taping, and ironing, and finally to the finished product. I'll showcase must-have items and favorite tools that will be covered more in subsequent videos. My goal is to give you the knowledge you need to make your bead projects a reality. Perler beading can be very rewarding, but many beginners struggle with tools and techniques. It can be intimidating finding the correct information, even just the basics of which beads to use and which tools are worth the investment. I'd like to offer a few tips. First, and probably most important, stick with one brand of bead. Most beads don't mix well with beads from other brands. They may have completely different melt temperatures and shapes once melted. Mixing brands can compromise your project from the start. Though you can use your fingers, I recommend tweezers for large projects. There are a variety of tweezers available, but I personally prefer the metal beading tweezers. Now let's talk pegboards. You can never have too many pegboards. They come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Here are just a few of the available shapes. There are also regular square pegboards that fit together with notches to allow for larger and more detailed projects. Though just about any iron will do, I found I struggled with the steam vents on the bottom of modern irons. I opted to spend a little bit more on what's called a dry iron. It's a bit heavier, but I find I get a much more even heat distribution and a more consistent melt. Though most brands of bead kits come with sheets of ironing paper, I usually keep a box of parchment paper on hand. It's great for larger projects and it can be reused multiple times. This simple step will become your best friend. Some people use painter's tape, but I prefer the adhesive strength of just regular old masking tape. Alright, here we go! Now that our project is complete, we can move on to a key step, taping. It's definitely not necessary with smaller projects, but it can solve many beginner errors like uneven melts, board or project warping, and the dreaded complete project destruction. Measure your tape a good distance above the project. If you lose the end, that adhesive can catch and pull your beads away. Hold the cut piece taut between your fingers and place it flat on the project. Smooth it down with your fingers. Repeat this step, making sure to overlap the tape, one above the other. Once you've covered the whole project, you can use your fingers to firmly smooth the tape again till you can see the beads are all sealed to the tape. Then use a small sharp object if you'd like to poke holes in the tape. This helps keep air pockets from warping the melted beads and creating uneven melting. I've decided not to save a little bit of time, but I've adjusted my iron temperature. Make sure your iron's fully up to temperature before you attempt to melt. I recommend a lower setting of 3 or 4 depending on your iron, hot enough to melt them but very slowly. You'll need to tear 2 pieces of parchment paper roughly the same size, large enough to cover your project. Once your iron is hot, put 1 piece of paper over the project and we can begin. Never let your iron sit in one spot too long. I find using circular motions helps me keep the melt even and clean. You can see the beads changing shape through the paper, and when you can tell each bead is melted, stop ironing. Now we just want to flip it over and do the same thing again on the other side. After we remove the tape, of course. Slowly. If you lose any beads in this process, just put them back before you iron. And you're done. Simple and fun. Look how cute Luigi is. I'll leave links down below in the description for the tools and pattern I used today. Please like and subscribe for more art and projects. See you next time! Please like and subscribe.